Okay, so apparently Strava sued Garmin this past week.
Yeah, fun stuff. The world's on
Drop
flames.
a bomb on that one on the fitness world. All right, welcome back to Bespoke Endurance. Today is episode 25 of Recreational Rider to Racer podcast series, where Josh and I are transforming into racers, leveling up on the bike and in life in the midst of busy lives, work, and having young families. If that interests you, hit that subscribe button and follow us along for our journey. You will not be disappointed.
I'm just going to say it, Greg. I feel like we're both coming in a little hot today. little hot over this topic that we're about to get into. I'm very excited to get into these discussions. One of them, Garmin and Strava. And the other one is bike computers. But we actually had a overwhelming response from the last episode that we did with Mike, and we had one of our posts kind of go viral in a sense, where we had it was basically on Zwift cheating, and it turns out a lot of people very opinionated on this. And so we
ban them all.
Ban them all.
Kick them out.
We put up a vote to see if you should ban Zwift cheaters or if it's not that bad. And over 390 people voted, and 90% of us said, "Look, kick them out, get them out of here."
Gonzo.
And then 10% said, it's not that bad.
Well, hang on. I do want to say that, like, when I was saying ban them, I mean for like a temporary amount of time. I don't mean forever. Zwift's got to make money somehow.
Yeah,
but like definitely a temporary ban.
A temporary ban.
100%.
Yes, I agree. And we didn't clarify what the ban would be, but I agree. It's not a lifetime ban.
No.
Unless you do it multiple times, then get
it. For sure. Like if you're caught cheating multiple times,
you're
like
out.
Then it's like
You're
donezo.
Go
to Ruby.
Go to Ruby. I love it. Okay. I think probably one of my favorite comments though was we had a guy, and this happens, but it's just I love when people engage and they comment. But we had one guy, and I think he's just trolling us, where his basically said racing on Zwift is stupid. You got to ride out in the real world, and it's like obviously we do that, but on his profile when you look at it, because I just was curious, and it says, "I like riding my bike in traffic." And so I don't know, man. I think there's sometimes where you look at the comments and you're just like, huh, okay.
Yep.
Well, if you love riding your bike in traffic, I don't know that a lot of people land.
I file that in the crazy drawer.
Insane.
So that just goes in the crazy drawer and gets locked away.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me ask you this. What has the recent training been for you? Anything that you've been doing? You've been talking about KOMs. Have you been going after more KOMs?
Yeah, I'm at a KOM dilemma right now. So I have I think I'm going to come across like a very whiny, spoiled child in the next 5 minutes.
Okay.
But I want to get your opinion on some stuff around KOMs. Like, are there unspoken rules around KOMs? So let me throw you some hypothetical scenarios and see what you think, okay? Easiest one, you go out and you have a massive tailwind. Good for you that day. Awesome, right? You get a KOM, great. That's part of the elements, no big deal.
Yep.
If it's a super flat section, is it a solo attempt, or are you at fault if you're in a very fast-paced group? I say if it's flat, who gives a crap?
Yeah, I don't care.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my thing then is mostly around actual like uphill segments.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I had a KOM a couple years ago, and this guy took it. And I was like, oh, dang it, he beat me. Like, that's cool.
Yep.
So this past week, I had a day where I was feeling really good. I do this segment like every day on my way home. Most times I just kind of cruise it. So it's a half mile. The first third of it is like probably a 2% incline. Then it kicks up to around 4, like midway through. And the last little 1/3 of it is like 5-6%. So it kind of just gradually nudges up. It's tricky because you have to come in in almost an arrow position, putting out a lot of power on a relatively flatter section, and you're wearing yourself out. Then you actually get to the climb itself.
Correct.
So I go out this week. I give an all-out effort, and I missed the KOM by 2 seconds. I PR'd,
Dang.
but I missed it by 2 seconds.
Okay.
So I went and looked at the guy that had it, and the day he took the KOM, he went out for a 14-mile ride. His average speed was 14 miles per hour, and he took 2 KOMs, that being one of them. So it seems like he literally went on the easiest rides and just hammered 2 sections and took 2 KOMs. So I've always held myself to a standard that if I'm going to go after a KOM, there has to either be some intervals involved or at least like 25-mile of effort ride where it's like I'm not just like getting in my car almost, driving to a hill and just doing some local hill climb up this thing. So
I think in a general sense, I understand what you're talking about. And I would agree with you, generally speaking. I think where my parameters would be.
Okay, yeah, I want to hear your parameters. That's what I want.
If you're riding at least an hour, it's fine. Now, I've seen segments where people KOM, and that's literally the only thing they'll do. And I think that's trash. Don't do that. That's ridiculous. However, we know some people even locally that some of them very, very good climbers, but would do that, would go out and ride 14 miles an hour, and they would go ride for an hour or two, and they would take a couple of KOMs. And to be fair, I can't KOM on any of those segments, even if I'm going at the same pace in terms of if I'm riding around at a leisurely pace, and if I'm doing the exact same thing where I'm still trying to go for those KOMs, if I'm competing against that other dude and he still gets the KOMs, he deserves it.
Okay, so your parameter is an hour,
that's the
minimum
only
of an
thing he's
hour.
doing.
Is there a minimum speed? Because 14 miles per hour, I'm like,
no.
That's that's almost what I do with my kids when I go ride around Lunkin.
That's fair.
I'm like,
but think about this. Okay, here's the thing though. Now, what you could do, if it really bothers you, if you really want this KOM, do the exact same thing as him, and go try for those 2 KOMs. See if you can take it from him, then you win.
I think what's hard is
I don't have any problem with that because I think about it in terms of my level of respect for people that can pull off very competitive KOMs, right? Ones where there's more than a couple hundred people competing. If you get the KOM and if you're just lollygagging the other part of the ride and you still get it, you know what? It takes a lot of effort on some of those to even get those. So kudos to you. I don't have the same parameters you do. My only little thing is that like if you're literally parking your car and then you're riding around for 10 minutes and then you're just literally going up one hill, don't do that.
Okay, so with that being said,
you got to ride around a little bit
like
more than that.
weight weaning, am I shedding like everything off, like water bottles, lights,
that's fine.
Saddlebag, like borrowing someone's wheels, like getting some.
I don't know if you go. I mean, like you don't need to borrow other people's wheels. It's
like
just
a lighter,
but just don't do it. Don't do any bottles.
Okay,
just take everything off, and you're fine. I think that's
just
great.
Put them at the bottom of the hill, then go up, and then come back down.
Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with that. I think a lot of people with the KOM hunt, they do that.
Okay.
I think that's fair. They leave it at the bottom of the hill, put their, do it.
Okay.
No issue with that. Because again, think about it. If I can't pull that off with all the same things that they're doing, they deserve the KOM.
Fair enough. Okay.
So.
The unspoken rules of KOM. All right.
We'd love to know what you guys think, though. Maybe I'm in the wrong.
Are there unspoken rules? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
That's the question. Let's see. That's my kind of training right now. I've just been kind of chilling.
Yeah.
You?
Yeah, still my VO2 block. I honestly feel like most of it's just been trying to soak up as much of this weather as we possibly can. We've had some really nice weather here locally in the last month and a half, and I am not ready for winter weather for sure. I just don't love bundling up a ton before a ride. Like I don't mind it when I get out there as much. It's just the layering is always kind of
the mental
annoying.
hurdle.
Yeah. And then that first 10, 15 minutes, you're always kind of like, ugh, it's cold.
Yep.
So, I'm trying to get out, soak it up. But really, I think where I'm at right now more than anything else is, I'm I'm really worried about what's happening with I've got a Garmin bike computer, and over the last 2 weeks, Strava decides to sue Garmin, and then I've got a Garmin watch, I've got a Garmin bike computer, and turns out that as of November 1st, which is literally 2 weeks away, I might not be able to upload any of my stuff to Strava, which I love Strava. So mostly what I'm doing right now is just freaking out. So that's we're gonna get into that, but that's kind of where my mental headspace has been in the last week.
Let's get into that. Before we do though, let's just do a quick shout out to our sponsors, and then jump right into that. So we want to give a huge shout out to RoadID for not only supporting our podcast but also letting us film right here at their headquarters. If you're a cyclist, runner, or someone who just wants peace of mind while out on the road, RoadID has you covered. Their medical IDs provide crucial info in case of an emergency, and they look great too. Do yourself a favor, check out RoadID.com and grab one today. Big thanks to the team at RoadID for their support. I gotta look into getting a new one. Mine's after 10 years, the band is...
Just buy a new one, bro.
I know, I gotta get a new band.
Yeah.
So this episode is also brought to you by our sponsor, Chris Carville, the bike lawyer. If you are injured in a bicycle accident, Chris is the guy to call. 20 years legal experience and tens of thousands of miles training and racing. He's not just a legal pro, he's a cyclist who understands what it means to ride and the risks that come with it. Chris helped me out with my insurance claim when I had an accident back in 2020. He was great to work with and made the process smooth and took the burdens off of my shoulders. Representing both Ohio and Kentucky injured cyclists, whether you've been in a crash or just want to know your rights on the road, visit KentuckyBikeLawyer.com. Okay, so apparently Strava sued Garmin this past week.
Yeah, fun stuff. The world's on
Drop
flames.
a bomb on that one, on the fitness world.
Okay, let's get into this.
Okay.
But I want to first set the stage, because we're going to talk about a couple of things between the beef, and I feel like we're going to get into who we feel is maybe on the right of this, who maybe is in the wrong, and then kind of how that impacts us as cyclists. But I kind of want to just set the stage, especially for those that really, there's been a couple of really great in-depth videos. DC Rainmaker was the first, and like anything he does, it's just thorough and very good. But for a lot of people out there, I really like, personally, just the condensed version. Give me enough to know about what's happening. I don't need to know every single detail about the lawsuit. Give me some of the quick facts. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go over this super quickly, and then we're going to get into it, of just kind of the timeline of things that have happened, because everybody was surprised about this lawsuit. And then when you think about what has actually happened and the timeline and history between these two, it starts to kind of make a little bit more sense. So really there's two main issues. One is Strava is suing Garmin over really two things. One is segments, and the other is heat maps.
Okay.
So really what they're alleging is patent infringement. Let me give you a couple of dates, and again, we're not going to go into every detail of this, but these are just kind of important to remember. 2011, Strava filed for a patent for segments.
Okay.
2013, Garmin had heat maps. And 2014, Garmin had segments. 2015, Strava patented their segments, finally. And then around that time, they kind of had this agreement, basically said, like, hey, let's be friends. They came to this sort of master agreement or whatever it was, and they decided, hey, we should really collaborate on things like segments, heat maps, all that stuff. In 2016, Strava patented their heat maps. So Strava, over those kind of that span, had patented both the segments and the heat maps. But as you saw, Garmin was already kind of doing their own thing. So those two, they came together, they came to the table and said, let's be friends. But here's what really happened. So in July of 2025, Garmin introduced a new developer, introduced kind of their new API guidelines, basically just requiring partner apps, obviously including Strava, to display their Garmin branding logo on activity screens, graphs, etc., things like that. And they said, if you don't, by November 1st, there's going to be a cutoff from Garmin data syncing with your third-party apps. So the cutoff being that, hey, you you're not going to be able to upload your stuff to Strava anymore. So Strava was like, oh, wait a minute. No, we're not going to do that. They're claiming that kind of breaks our agreement of what what we agreed upon. And their claim is that Garmin has expanded or basically reversed engineered its own version and of like their heat maps and segments and gone beyond what the agreement allowed for. So basically, it seems like Garmin kind of was doing their own thing and kind of continued to say like, hey, we're still going to continue to develop our own heat maps, segments, things like that. And Strava is basically probably over the last couple of years getting more and more frustrated with them. And then Garmin kicks it off by saying, look, you know what, you got to have our branding now on everything. And Strava's like, no, we don't. So then what happened is Strava sues. And so that lawsuit is essentially saying, look, you're breaking our agreement. You're going well beyond what we had agreed to. And whatever that kind of master agreement was way back in the day. So that's where it's at. Now, for me personally, as a Garmin user,
as you hold up your Garmin watch,
as I hold up my Garmin watch, which I love, I'm the kid singing the Blink-182 "Stay Together for the Kids." It's like this is mom and dad getting a divorce, and I'm like, what about me? What about me as a Garmin user? I've got my Garmin Edge 540, and okay, I love Strava. We're on Strava all the time. We pay for it. We pay for the premium. All of my friends are on Strava. That's its own social media app for me that I love deeply because you get to see what other people are doing. You get to compete on things like KOMs. You get to do like routes. All that. It's like that's like the community. I don't have any of that community on Garmin, so I'm freaking out, being like, wait, I want to be able to upload to upload my stuff, and I'm facing this huge. I'm in the middle of this lawsuit. As the kid being like, dude, what the heck, man? Like, come on, like this is ridiculous. So I want to ask you, what do you think of this? Like, you're not a Garmin user.
I was.
You were.
I was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not anymore. Well before this, though.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a couple of questions, and I hope you can answer these because I genuinely don't know. When I had Garmin,
yep.
Their interface was Garmin Connect.
Yep. Still
and
is.
It had a lot of stuff. I felt like Strava was a little bit simpler format to navigate.
Yes.
Now, to me, heat maps, as I understand, it's just taking user data and seeing what roads or routes are done the most.
Correct.
So that's just probably just an algorithm or some type of
Strava is
coding.
using Garmin's heat maps.
Okay.
In that sense. Yeah.
Now, the segments, that's interesting to me because on Strava, the people create the segments. Is Garmin just stealing those segments that people create on Strava? Or can you get on Garmin and make a segment? And if you can, who's actually doing that? Because when I was on Garmin, I did not get the...
Yeah.
When I had Garmin, I pretty much stopped using Garmin Connect. I found nobody's on there.
Right.
It did not have that social
element to it.
That what makes Strava so fun.
Yeah.
And so that's where I'm kind of curious is the segment. Are they just stealing segments that people make on Strava? Or are people getting on Garmin and making their own segments? Like, who's doing that? Who are these people?
It could be. I'm not sure how to answer that question specifically on people making their own segments on Garmin. I think that's true. I think the bigger issue as far as the segments go is the live segments. So when people...
Okay.
So, for example,
yeah.
Since half of the world has Garmin bike computers, or even like in your running. So a lot of runners obviously use Garmin watches too. Or triathletes have Garmin watches, Garmin bike computers, etc. So for all the people going after Strava live segments, you can see that through your Garmin device. And so they've partnered together on the live segments of it. And so basically part of that is however they were pulling that data together, however they were using that, whether Strava is pulling that directly from Garmin or Garmin's pulling that from Strava, and then they've kind of created their own Garmin live segments. I'm not exactly sure, but that's, I think, the rub of it for most people.
See, what's weird is, I guess we'll talk about this, but at least in cycling, the other big brands that sell cycling computers, they have live segments.
Right.
Like I have it on my Wahoo.
Correct.
I have live segments. I've all the stuff that Garmin can do, my Wahoo can do.
Yeah.
I would argue better.
Yeah. And I think to your point of like, is Garmin creating their own segments? I think that's true because there's millions of Garmin's users out there that enough people are out there on Garmin just like reacting to other Garmin users out there. So I think in some way we don't because we use Strava. We don't care about the Garmin Connect world, but there's a lot of people who do.
Do you remember back when Garmin wasn't even in the fitness industry? Like, do you remember this?
No, I don't.
Like, I remember when I was in like high school and early college, Garmin was like, they just sold like car GPS computers. And it was Garmin or a TomTom. And you bought it and you suction cup it on your windshield and that was it. And then the iPhone came out with awesome maps and Garmin was like, well, we're screwed. And they were like, we're going to go out of business. And then they pivoted to fitness and it was like, oh, wow, I remember thinking, wow, they saved their business by tapping into a whole new market.
Yeah.
Because I remember when they were only like almost exclusively like car navigation computers. They looked like old school phones and you suction cup them on your windshield and you put in the address and it took you there.
We used MapQuest.
You were that barbaric.
Yes.
You're printing off your directions and following them.
Kids today have no idea how good they have it. We had to print out directions.
Oh, yeah, I remember doing that.
It was like, okay, I'm coming up on this street, largely dangerous, because you're riding with this printed out. Like you're looking at you're looking at these street signs, being like, okay, I've got, I think, another couple of turns until this street sign.
No, I remember doing that, but I remember when we got our first like actual GPS, and we were like, this is so cool.
Yeah,
it was awesome. And then like the phone came out, and then it was like. Maps and Google Maps came out and I was like, well, I'm never turning this on again. And it sat in my dashboard for years.
Yeah.
So
who do you think's in the wrong here? Based on the facts that you've been given, who do you think, now we don't know all the details, obviously, but who do you think's in the wrong?
I don't know. I mean, it seems kind of petty of Garmin to be like, you have to put our logos on your stuff. I mean, I get it, they're branding, but when you upload to Strava, it already says what you recorded your device on. So that's already there. Like people are getting the advertisement for that. To me, it almost feels like an old school just peeing contest where it's like, okay, well, you're going to do this. And they're like, well, no, we're not. And then they're like, well, we're going to cut off all data upload by November 1st. And it's like, fine, we'll just sue you. And now it's just like, it's who can top the other. It's like an arms race here.
Yeah. I think it's also, it reminds me of like, it probably is like that married couple that just over the last several years, just little digs at each other.
Yeah.
Just these little digs that none of us are around that Garmin users don't know about. You know, and we're like, everything's fine.
And you show up like mom and dad are getting a divorce and kids are like, what the crap is going on?
But then when you look deeper into the marriage, they've had some serious issues for the last couple of years. So I think, I think there's some of it that like, I agree. I think I stand with you in that like, even in marketing, as a marketer myself, I'm like, everybody knows Garmin. You've already got the brand. Like nobody on Strava is unfamiliar with Garmin. And you don't need another logo on what you're doing because you've already partnered with them. It's like you've got it on your devices. Everybody knows it. And so I think that in and of itself, I think was a huge misstep. If I'm looking at the two objectively, I'm like, that's unnecessary.
Yeah.
Absolutely unnecessary.
Well, so what's interesting to me in this is, so I'm very narrow-minded in the sense of I live and operate in the cycling world.
Yeah.
So, I'm like, oh, no big deal. There's still other brands out there. But I was talking to some friends of mine who are runners, and I look at both of them, they're wearing Garmin's. And I realize if you're a runner or a triathlete, that's a massive market of Garmin users where, if you're a triathlete, a Garmin watch is going to be waterproof. So you can get your swim, it'll sync to your power meter, and you can get your run, all of your data for your race or your workouts. I'm like, holy cow, that's key. But then something else I didn't realize, that a majority of Strava subscribers are runners. I would have never thought that. I thought people that are paying for Strava are cyclists, majority. And so
it makes sense. There's a lot more runners than cyclists out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so it's just what's crazy about it is it's going to affect way more people than I think. Because I'm like, who cares? Just go get a Wahoo or something else. But, I mean, this is
when you think about it from the global perspective, you're right. It is so many people. And if you're a Garmin user and you're unfamiliar with this and you're just hearing this for the first time, I'm sorry.
Better get Wahoo. Wahoo needs to start pumping out some running watches. Or do they?
No, but
they need to now.
They need to. Coros is there's alternatives in the watch world, but Garmin has the heavy hand there.
Yeah, I mean, they are the
they're the top brand.
The market, they hold the market.
Yeah.
Whatever you call it.
Market share.
Market share. That's it. Thank you.
So I think between Strava and Garmin, I think where my frustration lies is that as a user, now I'm forced into the position of choosing whether I want to continue with Strava or whether I want to continue with Garmin. And personally, I land in the boat of like, well, all of my community, all of my friends are on Strava. That's where, like I already said, it's like, so I can find a different bike computer. Yeah. But it sucks because now I'm forced to find a different bike computer. I don't want to sit there and let this lawsuit pay out. They might resolve it. Maybe the sync will still be okay after November 1st. They might have an uproar of people that they'll let it play out for a month or whatever the case. I have no idea. I just don't want to be around for the crap show of it. And they're just sitting there, if it's a pissing match, like where you're saying, it's like, okay, well, ultimately, I'd rather still be on Strava engaging because that's my version of social media. And so it's like that to me is pretty important. And I think it's unfortunate because now I'm thinking like, this is such a detriment to my experience with Garmin that I'm like, why am I going to stick on Garmin now? Like if I didn't have Strava, I wouldn't care.
Yeah.
But the reason I care is because I have Strava, you know? So it's frustrating.
Before all this happened, were you in a place where you were looking to replace your Garmin anyway?
I mean, to be fair, yes. Okay, yes, but we're going to get into that because where I think this naturally lends itself is I think what would be really fun is to kind of go into a breakdown of bike computers, kind of breaking it down into a couple of tiers because I was already frustrated with my Garmin.
You were on the fence, and now you're like,
yeah, they pushed me over.
They've pushed you over.
Oh,
come join the light. Come join Wahoo.
They gave me a hard push.
Yeah,
and I was
Listen,
sleeping.
I get it. I used to be a Garmin guy, and I switched, and I'm glad I did.
You came to the light.
Yep.
I'm not there yet. So. I think I want to get into bike computers because now I'm forced to, and maybe you're like me. Maybe you're a Garmin user and now you're considering your alternatives with Strava. Maybe you don't care, but I imagine you care. So I think we should get into it.
Okay.
But what I would love to know, at least from our audience, is if you're a Garmin user, which parent are you choosing? Or who do you think's in the wrong here? Would love to hear your guys' thoughts on that. So let us know in the comments below. Perhaps we bring in a few spicy comments next week.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so let's jump into bike computers. So running and triathletes aside, let's look at because you're in the market now.
Yeah.
You're in the market for a new bike computer. So
here I am.
let's go through them, and then I'm gonna try to sell you on why I like Wahoo over Garmin anyway.
Yeah.
But in fairness, let's kind of talk through the four main brands and some price points.
Yeah.
And some products and some specifics, and then kind of narrow down what might ultimately suit you best.
Yeah. I think that's good. So the four brands,
Garmin.
Wahoo, of course.
Okay.
Hammerhead.
Yep.
And then Coros. Chinese company. So Hammerhead, I didn't actually know this until you told me. They're actually owned by SRAM.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's cool.
SRAM's the last 5 years, SRAM's just been in the market of buying everybody.
Yeah.
So they bought Zip a few years ago.
Yep.
They bought Hammerhead this past year, maybe 2 years ago. It kind of blurs together, but and they kind of make Hammerhead integrate like with all their with their latest SRAM update, the E1 stuff. It like seamlessly integrates.
Yeah. So. I really like Hammerhead. We're going to get into that. But let's do this. For the sake of discussion, I think it'd be best to kind of break it down between 3 categories. One is I'm calling budget friendly, so bike computers under $300.
Okay.
We've got mid-tier, so $300 to $600
Okay.
if you're in the market for that. Or you've got top tier, anything 600 plus.
And for these tiers, these are just the computer.
Bike computers.
So we're not
correct.
talking the computer with the bundle crap, like the heart rate
No,
monitors and the
no.
cadence
Just
sensors.
the
and
computers.
Just
Yeah,
the
yeah.
computer. Okay.
That's too much to go through.
Okay. Fair enough.
Let's start with the budget friendly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just very quickly go over some of these, just kind of give a 30,000 foot overview of just what are your options under $300, and then talk about which one we would choose.
I think it's what are your options under $300?
Yeah, you're right. You're not looking for a new bike computer. Yeah, this is about me. Okay, but I'm trying to help out my fellow brothers and sisters out there who are struggling like me. Okay, so budget friendly, under $300. We've got Wahoo and Hammerhead. Actually, don't really sell anything under $300.
Okay.
Wahoo previously had the Bolt 1 and 2 and the Roam 1 and 2, but they're really not selling them anymore. Now, a quick caveat, they do...
You can find them. Yeah. But they're clearing inventory.
They're clearing inventory.
So REI has the...
Yeah, has the Bolt 2, right?
Yeah, for like $280.
So, okay. So technically, yes, you can find the Bolt 2 under $300. And you have this.
I do.
Let's get into that super quick. So the Bolt 2 is still under this category at $300. Tell me what you love about it. Give me the quick specs of it.
Okay, so I will say this. I had a Garmin Edge 520 for years.
Yep.
I finally ditched the Garmin when I had a route programmed in. I was on the bike trail, and it kept saying I was 20 yards off course to the right. So the GPS of the GPS company was telling me that I was in the correct location, in the wrong location. So my cousin was like, "Hey, I'm getting rid of my old Wahoo," and he gave it to me.
Yeah.
And there was a bit of a learning curve at first for setting it up, but after like a day, I was like, "Holy cow, this is significantly better." The user interface.
Okay.
So here's the main difference. Both computers are going to be pretty similar in what they can do. The data you're going to look at, the mapping features, it's all going to be marginally different.
Yep.
What I was sold on is the setup process. So on your Garmin, do you remember before smartphones existed, when you would have a phone and then get a new phone, you'd have to go in and reprogram all your settings and try to remember all the settings?
It's horrible.
Okay. So on a Garmin, all your programming is on the device itself. So you have to go in and set up every screen on the device and flip through all these screens and set up what you want to see, what you don't want to see, all on the tiny computer. On my 520, if I wanted to upload routes, I believe I had to sync them in to Garmin Connect.
Yep, you do.
And then they sync automatically. Okay.
Yep, still the case for the 540.
So even that is significantly easier on the Wahoo. So the Wahoo, everything is done by your phone.
Yep.
So you get on the app, you turn on your computer, and you literally just do it on your phone, and then you can look at the screen on the computer, and you make a change, and it just instantly happens. So you can see everything you're doing. When I got my Wahoo, now obviously I know Garmin does this now too, but there's way more color. So I can, my heart rate, when I go into the red, it'll turn red, and I can see a very quick, easy visual. Oh my gosh, I'm in the red right now. Versus trying to read the number if you're you're sweating. Same thing for power. The Wahoo has these LED lights that you can set. Yeah,
I've seen those.
And so mine is set to my power. And so when I'm going crazy hard, above 300 watts, it goes into the red. The program now, as far as the navigation stuff, getting the maps in.
Yeah.
You sync your Wahoo on the app, and you, just like you do with your Strava, it's got all the third-party platforms. So Ride with GPS, Komoot, Training Peaks. You sign in on the app on your phone, and you just connect those accounts. And so any route that I make on Strava, any route that I make on Ride with GPS or I download, I just favorite it, and it automatically imports into my head unit. So I don't have to go and get it into Garmin Connect. It's almost like adding a step. Wahoo takes that out.
Yep.
So much easier. And then as soon as you unfavorite a map, it's gone.
It's
the
gone.
next time it syncs.
Yep.
So the user ability, it has been significantly easier. The mapping is great. I like the Bolt compared to my old 520 because I can put even more data on the screens. So even if I'm looking at the map, I can still see my average speed. I can still see my power, my heart rate, whatever data I want to put on there, I can. Now, I know the newer stuff can do that, but the user interface on the Wahoo was really surprising how much I liked it.
Okay. No, I think that's really good. And obviously, especially as you've had it, it lends to that. Like you have the tried and true, like, hey, this is my long-term review on it. So I think that.
And I had a Garmin.
Yeah.
So I'm not I had a Garmin for 6 years.
Yeah.
Like a long time.
Now, your other options, again, we're just high-level overviewing this here. Under $300, you've also got the Garmin Edge 130 Plus, basically $200.
That's what Jonas uses in the mountains.
Does he?
Yeah.
Oh.
Have you not seen that? No, yeah.
No.
There's a interview of him in 2 tours ago. When he's on flats, he uses the Garmin, like the bigger Garmin.
Yeah.
And when he's actually climbing, like the weight weenie, he gets the smallest possible one because it's every gram counts. So he uses the 130 in the mountains.
Okay, I actually love that.
Just to take some weight off.
I love it.
I swear, I'm not making this up.
No, I believe
because I told my wife that, and she's like, "You've got to be kidding me." I'm like, "No, I'm serious."
I mean, you're one of the best climbers in the world. That makes sense.
Yeah,
why not? Okay, yeah, it's your very basic, can do all the essentials other bike computers can do. Obviously not with as many perks, bells and whistles. You got 12 hours of battery life. You can upload it. It claims up to about 30 courses on there. So again, very much your minimal. This is, if you don't care about much, it's a great. I'm sure it's just fine. You also have the Garmin Edge Explore 2, so about $300 in most places. Difference with this one is you got 3 inches on the touch screen, and you have a little bit better display versus the 130, and then you have 16 hours of battery life and up to about 100 courses. And then really your only other option under $300 is the Coros Dura. Now this one is $250, so slightly cheaper than the Edge and the Bolt. And this one is a touchscreen with a side button, so you can still kind of have that. You can still play with it a little bit. You have 120 hours of ride time on a single charge with full GPS support. I think that's insane. That's what they claim on their website. Now, even you can get solar, and you can get an extra 2 hours on there. And it's a slightly smaller screen, so 2.7 inches. It's got about 32 gigabytes of storage. And the only thing is, with some of the storage stuff, is you don't really know how many routes, courses you can store as the firmware kind of software, like limitation might exist. It's just it doesn't tell you exactly. Some of these will claim you can have X amount of courses or whatever. Some of these really give you just more of the gigabytes. So of these options out there, under $300, you already have the Bolt 2.
Yeah.
Do any of these other ones appeal to you at all? Does the touch screen matter to you?
See, I don't like touch screens because when I sweat, I feel like it's harder to use them. I don't know if the Coros does this. I know the Garmin and the Wahoo both program to my hood shifter buttons on my Shimano, so
okay.
I can switch screens with my thumbs. Game changer.
That would be nice.
My right switches screens. My left hits the lap button.
What a world you live in.
I know. I'm very spoiled. Honestly, my biggest takeaway from this list is I would question the Coros being a Chinese branded product. Not that they don't make good stuff. As a consumer, I also look for that customer service experience.
Sure.
So when it breaks, can I call someone and they will do something about it? I feel like Wahoo's customer service has been pretty top notch. Even Garmin, when my Edge was very, very outdated, their customer service was still willing to work with me, even though the software was outdated, the head unit was outdated, and they were still willing to work with me and help me out and troubleshoot things. So, I don't know. I've just heard a lot of Chinese branded products kind of copy the American brands, and then where they undercut them is they don't offer that element that I think is really
something
important.
Goes wrong.
Yes.
Yep. Or you've got, And again, they probably, again, I don't know this, but I'm sure they have, warehouses here, locations in the U.S. to where if you have issues, you can send stuff back and there's not this crazy long delay of it. But
yeah,
if it's me and if it's under $300, I mean, I would still choose the Bolt 2. But since, I'm not really going to go there because I'm like, if I'm going to get the Bolt 2, I might as well just go the Bolt 3. Because this one's already like the old version. I'm like, it doesn't really appeal to me to just, if I'm already spending almost $300, I'm just going to spend a little bit more and get the other Bolt, the newer one.
Neither of these.
So I'd probably go Coros.
Neither of these appeal to me, and I hate how expensive they are.
Yeah.
None of these really do it for me. I'm kind of that more mid-tier.
Yeah,
category.
I agree.
So what's the mid-tier then? What do we got in the next category?
All right, so mid-tier, again, we're high level going through this here. So Coros doesn't offer anything in the mid-tier or high tier.
So you're not even getting one.
They're just
they're
already
cheap.
out of the
They're the cheap
Yes.
brand. Okay.
All right, here's your options. Currently, you have the Garmin Edge 540, which is what I have.
Okay.
You also have the Garmin Edge 550.
So the 540 is on its way out.
540 is on it's probably on its way out. Garmin Edge 850. So you have 3 different Garmins here. You have the 540.
What are the prices on these? Say that again.
No, you're good. So the Edge 540, it's $350.
Okay.
You can get the solar version for $400.
Okay.
The next tier of price level is the Garmin Edge 550. So basically an extra $100. And then the Garmin Edge 850 is $600. So here's what you're kind of getting between these different levels of it. And I'll kind of give my thoughts on the 540 here real quick. You get 16 gigabytes of storage, 12 hours of GPS, 26 hours battery mode. The nice thing about the Edge or the Edge 540 is you have this thing called the Climb Pro. So it's basically your gradient, remaining ascent, etc. It's a nice I see they have various different versions on like Wahoo and stuff. So it's very similar. But this was new to me coming from the Edge 520 to the 540. I really like this, especially when you're climbing. It's really nice to know, oh, I'm at a 6% gradient, or it looks like I've only got a little bit left on this climb. Nice. It's a nice feature. I like it.
Wahoo does that too.
Yep. Yeah. I only come from the 520, and so I didn't have that previously.
Yeah,
and so when I saw this, I was like, oh, I like that. 2.6 screen. I'm going to get into the navigation here in a second, but let me just give the quick differences between these 3, and then we'll get into the Wahoo versions. So the Edge 550, you get a little bit more storage. You get about twice as much. They claim finer GPS resolution. Now, I looked at this. I'm doing a hard pass on that. I don't know what the heck you're getting. And they say this display is slightly better resolution than the 540. I'm like, for an extra $100, I'm like, the finer GPS resolution does not mean jack squat.
No.
I'm like, that's so dumb. I don't even understand why they even have the 550 out there, to be honest. That doesn't even make sense. The Edge 850 offers a touchscreen with buttons. So if you're a touchscreen person, great. That's what you're going to look for. You get more storage, 64 gigabytes, and then you can pan, zoom in on maps, and it obviously has like the built-in speaker, it gives you the, spoken turn prompts, etc. That's kind of what you're getting there. So if you're really into the touchscreen, you're probably going to land in the 850 range, or the Garmin Edge 850. But if you don't care about the touchscreen, I'd say, it's like the Edge 540 is, what your options are. I wouldn't do the 550. It doesn't even make sense to me. My main gripe with the Edge 540 is the navigation. And you've experienced this on a couple of rides together. I've had so many times where I plug in my routes, and I swear I am so much like, I'm not the type of person I'm very careful about my turns, making sure they're exact. And in terms of when I put the course together, right? So I've created routes, and it's like the turn by turn, I'm double checking everything. So there's no crazy U-turns or whatever, all that stuff that can happen. Like if you've ever created a route on Strava, it's like, it's easy to do. Sometimes the mouse can click backwards, and it's like, oh, there's just a U-turn here. I'm very careful about that now. I have had so many issues on rides where my navigation, if I go past a turn, it just loses its mind.
Yeah.
And it will take me, and it will tell me, and I've I've DNF'd a race because of this.
You've gotten lost on races because of Garmin.
And also, like, the thing that's so frustrating is, like, I'm like, as a GPS unit,
company,
this thing should be so dialed in. It's like, hey, you missed your turn left here and get the heck back on the route. It will keep me going for way out of the way.
I don't remember what happens. So if you miss a turn,
right,
what does Garmin do?
It's supposed to get you back onto the route.
Okay.
What the problem is what's happened on my 540 is every time that happens, it just shows that, like, it'll basically, the route will just, like, the lines, you know how you have these, like, well, at least on Garmin, they have, like, these purple lines where it's like, hey, this, you should stick to the course here.
Yeah.
You'll get, like, a new purple line, but it won't give you the turn by turn and how to get back to where you're going. So you look like you're still on course, even though you're going out of the way.
I can't remember, but I remember on the 520. Now, granted, this is dated tech, but I remember getting off course and really struggling.
Yeah.
Whereas that was one of the first things. Wahoo, you get off course and it's just like, oh no, take this right up here to get back on course. Like, it gets you back. The other thing I left out, what I like, Wahoo, and I'm sure Garmin does this, but I was like, oh, this is awesome. You put a route in, like, say you're doing a one-way trip, and an overnighter. The next day, just go to that route and hit reverse, and you can just do the route backwards. It's super easy. Or if you get lost, or maybe you have one of those days where, like, I've been in places where I was with a friend and we were like, oh, the time got away from us. We can't do this route.
Yeah.
And so he was like, oh, no big deal. He went into his Wahoo and hit retrace to home, or take me home.
Oh,
and it just makes a new route to take him back to the start.
Yeah.
And we just finished the route that way.
You're supposed to be able to do that with a 540. I've just never tested it because I've been so lost so many times. I wouldn't trust it.
Yeah. That thing's gotten you lost with the correct direction. So I just find it funny that the GPS company struggles with basic GPS coordinates.
Okay, so other options in the 300, the mid-tier, the 300 to 600 range. Okay. You've got Wahoo. Mm-hmm. So Bolt 3, $350. So less than basically the Edge 540 is your comparison here. Okay. The difference is slightly smaller, 2.3 inches. It's buttons only, just like the Edge 540. You get 20 hours of battery life, so a little bit better battery life. You get an anti-glare display.
Ooh.
You get 32 gigabytes of storage. And I think obviously what people talk about, and this is what I keep reading, and you and other buddies who have Wahoos all say the same thing. They're like, they love the easy interface in the app. And even people talked about, one of my buddies said, like, he likes it because it works with his Garmin Varia, his backlight. Yep. And so, and the color of the power field corresponds to the zone you're in.
Here's what's really funny. You ready for this? Because I had my Garmin Varia on my Garmin and my Wahoo. Yeah. It works better on my Wahoo. Hey. So on my Garmin, when a car would approach, it would be a little dot. Yeah. On the Wahoo, it's a little picture of a car. And then, like, little multiple cars, and then it, like, flashes all colors. I mean, the Wahoo or the Garmin flash colors, but I'm like, wow, this even looks better. The Garmin stuff looks better on the Wahoo. Like,
I love it. Okay, and then your other option for Wahoo is the Roam 3. So really, this is at the 465 range. So you're getting a slightly bigger screen, 2.8 touchscreen with buttons. So again, I think the big thing here is, like, if you like touchscreen, that's going to be your
the bread and butter.
That's going to be it, because that's going to be important to you. I agree with you. I don't like touchscreen on this. Like, yeah, if it's got both, I'm fine with it. But give me the buttons, you know, because but yeah, and then it's really just a little bit more of storage, 64 gigabytes, and then 25 hours of battery life. So again, you're getting a little bit more battery life, slightly bigger screen. Touchscreen's really, it seems like, the big thing there. I don't really feel like for an extra $100, $115 or whatever that is, I don't think it's worth it. I would just go the Bolt. I don't. Again, I'm not a touchscreen person. If you are, great. That's probably the one for you. Now, your only other option in this range, and this one is actually, I like this one a lot, the Hammerhead. Okay. The Coros, $525. That's the only thing I don't love about this, is the price point. but you get a 3.2 to 3.5 touchscreen plus buttons. So again, nice to have, but you also have the buttons. 64 gigabytes. What they claim, though, and this is their big thing, is they claim it has the best in-class navigation. And I was kind of deep diving on this a little bit. I was looking at people's reviews on this and just kind of getting the sense of what they say about it. Everybody talks about the navigation and really the customizable like UI on it, where the different things that you can do with it in terms of the screens and stuff. Everybody says the same thing. They're like, this bike computer is amazing. So if you've got the money in that range, they've got a companion app, 35 hours of battery life. If money was all the same in this range for me, I think I'd land the Hammerhead.
Okay.
Now, I will probably land the Bolt 3, given the price point.
Well, in your favor, this is actually my bike, but on your tarmac, you're a SRAM guy.
Yeah.
So it's supposed to integrate.
Oh,
because
yeah.
SRAM bought Hammerhead.
Yeah.
So it integrates.
Yeah.
Now you don't have your SRAM. You don't have the hood shifters.
No.
The newer stuff does, but
ones,
you could still update your shifters if you wanted.
Yeah. Oh, that would be an appeal.
Because the SRAM stuff's backward compatible, so you could definitely update your shifters for your bike computer. Holidays are coming up. You never know.
Dude, this is the problem. It's like I'll talk myself into an extra like $100 or $200 and be like,
$1,000 later when you bought new shifters and a computer.
So if that's me, if I probably will land, because now kind of a little bit more in that pinch of like, okay, 350 is a lot more palatable than 520, really 530 in that price point. But if I was really like, hey, I've got $600, I'd go Hammerhead.
Okay.
Which one would you choose of all these options?
If
if you got up to $600.
I'd probably try a Hammerhead, but I've been very pleasantly pleased with the Wahoo and the user interface and how easy it is. Like, it's so easy.
Would you go Roam or would you stick with the Bolt? Does the touch? I mean, you're not touchscreen. Is there anything that appeals to you in the Roam at all, or not really?
I mean, my cousin has one, and he's talked about the fact that because the screen is larger, like when you're on your map screen, you can also fit additional data screens on that screen.
Yeah.
So you can. He's like, I have my map and my map looks great, but I can also see my power, my heart rate, my cadence, my speed. And I'm like, ooh, that's where I spend a lot of time looking. So for racing, I've heard a lot of racers will stick with the Bolt. When I race in a road race, the only screen I have up is my maps. And so being able to have some of that data, like if I'm doing a turn at the front or in a breakaway or kind of gauging my watts on some efforts, it'd be good to be able to have both sets of data on there. So I'm definitely not opposed to the Roam. From a pricing standpoint, I would be in the Bolt range.
Yeah. Okay. What is most important to you when you're considering buying a bike computer? Give me your top 3 things you look for.
Well, when I first started years ago and I had no idea what I was doing, I wanted the basic data that every computer can give you now.
Yeah.
I feel like they are so marginal. So for me, I look for user interface, like easeability, if that's a word. How user friendly is this thing to figure out? That's ultimately what I want, is something that's simple and just works well.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think that's probably my third thing. I would say price is number 1, and then mapping navigation, because I've had such an issue with Garmin that has become so important to me, where if the mapping and navigation sucks, which now, granted, most of these bike computers out there today are going to be really good, but I'm surprised that my 540 is as bad as it is. So that's where I'm like, that better. If I'm paying anything, if I'm getting another bike computer, this cannot be an issue.
I think you need to jump to Wahoo.
Yeah.
I think you do.
All right. So the last tier here, we're just going to hit this super quick.
Okay.
There's no Coros and no Hammerhead. Hammerhead's really just that mid-tier.
Okay.
And I kind of respect that.
I like that.
Yeah.
They know their audience.
They know their audience.
So what do we got then?
So you've got Garmin and Wahoo. And
Okay.
really your two options here with Garmin are you've got the Edge 1040 with solar.
Yep.
And then you got the Edge 1050. So these price points are both $700. They're basically the same price. Now, in comparison to the 850, you've got touchscreen plus buttons, slightly larger screen. And the only really thing here, and this is where I'm like, I don't understand this. You get up to 35 hours of non-solar battery or up to 70 hours with solar battery. Now,
I like that. I like that.
Do you?
I do.
Okay, so the only reason I say that is because I'm
I like that.
I think this really appeals to like ultra. What are you? If you hate charging your stuff, or if you're going crazy long distances, I'm like, why do you need so many hours of battery life?
I will tell you.
Let me hear it. Lay it
I
on
will
me.
tell you. Well, one, all these computers with all their projected battery life, when this is like when bikes tell you their weight,
Yeah.
and they give you the non-painted weight,
Correct.
which is the stripped down version.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
all of these computers, when they say X amount of battery life, that's running it with like nothing connected to it.
Yeah.
As soon as you start plugging in your heart rate, your cadence, your power
Yeah.
is the big one. Those all suck the battery down.
It's fair.
So one that is claiming to have a solar charging ability and last up to 70 hours, is it going to get 70? No. But if you're doing a really, my Garmin started
But when are you ever biking more than 8 to 10 hours?
You're not, but hear me out here. When you've had your computer for 2 years,
Right.
the battery starts to fail. Or not just, it starts to wear.
Yeah.
So my Garmin, after 2 years or 3 years, if I rode more than 6 hours, it was like I could almost not get through a century ride. Throw in, if you go with a group and do a cafe stop or a lunch stop for an hour or something, and
Yeah.
you leave your computer on, like you don't think about it. So
Yeah.
if I've got something sitting in the sun charging up, I think that's pretty cool. Or if you're in the ultra stuff, I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I still wouldn't buy one, but I
Yeah.
think it's cool.
Yeah, I just don't. That doesn't appeal to me. Like, I'm not into touchscreen. I don't. Even my Garmin Edge 540 has really been fine on battery life. I've never had issues with it. I charge my stuff a lot, but I'm like, I don't get it. So, and it's not, the price point is like, I'm already out. Okay, so then your only other option here is the Wahoo Element Ace, and this is really just three.
I'm a hard no on this one.
Wow.
Right out of the
You
gate.
came in hot with that.
Yeah.
All right.
Have you seen
let's
it?
hear. I've seen it. I've seen like the pictures and the video and stuff of it, but I haven't like.
One, I don't need a tablet. The thing is ridiculously huge.
Yeah.
This
one was like the huge. This one got really popular with the arrow and the wind metrics, right?
Gimmicky, whatever. The first review I looked at was DC Rainmaker. We've already mentioned him. He's
Yeah,
phenomenal.
He is phenomenal.
The first thing I noticed when I scrolled through, it's so big, it doesn't fit. So he had a Canyon, and he had to wedge it in, and it scratched up his carbon bars. Because as soon as it's like, it would fit, but that corner when it does the quarter turn, it
it's
kept hitting
scratched?
yeah. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, I'm out right away.
out.
So
Yeah.
$650 to scratch up your carbon bars that are going to cost you,
Yeah.
if it's a one piece, another $600.
Yeah, that's insane. I agree. There's no need to have that. Again, if you want it, great. It's out there. I just don't think this is any real need for.
You don't want a
cyclists.
iPad Mini mounted to your bike, and that's what it
Yeah.
almost looks like. It's
And I mean-
it's absurdly. And think of the weight. You
Yeah.
hit a bump. Think of the weight that's going to put on your on the mount. Nope, I'm out.
Well, it's even slightly less battery life than the Garmin top tier models, and if you're looking in that price range anyways, it's like, and it's slightly heavier too, 30 to 40 grams. Again, you're not really worried about weight in this category, but it's like, I don't get it.
That is the other thing I do look for. I forgot. I do look at battery life.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I do look at battery life.
Yeah, of
That's
course.
important to me.
Okay. So we would love to hear your thoughts on this, especially because everybody's really opinionated about their bike computers. You either love it or I feel like a lot of people don't hate their bike computers. But
I think you do.
I think I do right now. So we would love to hear your guys' thoughts. What in these categories, or just, let me ask this. What do you love about your bike computer? Which one do you have, and why do you love it? I think I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on this.
By the time this comes out, I'm predicting you're going to be on a Wahoo.
It's fair.
I'm expecting a text in the next 2 days. Like, I got my Wahoo. It's in the mail.
It's here.
Okay, so let's very, very quickly, before we wrap up, just talk about some other news in cycling. So in professional cycling, Tadej, of course, wins the two Lombardia, or the second Lombardia. I do have a take on that.
Go for
This
it.
is how I feel about this. A lot of people are making the argument that watching Tadej is getting boring because he attacks from so long,
Sure.
and he just goes solo and wins the race. I think that's awesome, and here's why.
Yeah.
From a former runner, I don't like in cycling when it's 6 guys together. One guy can sit in and just out-sprint the others and do the least amount of work. So for this man to, at 60 kilometers out, go solo and hold off a group of people who are trying to actively catch him, I find that really fun to watch. Even though it doesn't make the race dynamic, to me it's like, can this man hold on? And the effort that he's putting in to stay away, I marvel at that. So I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
I know our coach is like finds it boring because it's not traditional bike racing, but I'm sitting there from a former runner being like, this is racing. This one man by himself pouring it out there and just hanging on for dear life. I think that's so cool.
It is very cool. I see both sides of it. I agree with you. I think it's incredibly remarkable that somebody can do that, especially even at the top level in the world. I think the other part of it is I also see the other side of it where it does become boring if you're watching it and you're hoping for a good race. Like, to me, the Giro d'Italia this year was really fascinating because you really didn't know who was going to win the thing up until the last, couple stages. And you're like, that's what, and it's like with the Tour de France this year, it's like, well, Tadej's going to win. And you already knew that within like week 1. You're like, yeah, I think he had pretty much in the bag, at least very close to week 2.
Yeah, but there were good stories that came out of the Tour outside of that.
I know, but that's the whole
and
thing.
Even
These are like
Lombardia, look at,
races.
Quinn Simmons just attacking out of the gate and then not holding on. So that was entertaining.
Yeah. No, I see both sides of it. I understand where you're coming from, though. I agree. So the other thing is 2026 World Championships set in Montreal, Canada. Now, this is what, 12 hours away from us? Something like that? Are we going?
12 hours flight?
Or drive?
Drive? Oh.
Yeah, I don't know the flight time.
Let's fly. Let's go.
Well.
Or road trip. Ooh, I like this idea too.
I'm thinking my little crew road trips out there. Kind of break it up. And then that way I can sell this as like a family trip, plus we get to see the World Championships.
Yeah. We should go in and get you ever see Meet the Fockers?
Yeah.
When he gets that giant bus RV thing?
Yeah.
We should go in and rent one.
Ooh.
Take our bikes.
Yep.
Wives can go play with the kids. We go on bike rides and watch the race.
They go play with the kids.
Okay, joking aside,
I
think it would be cool next year if we could go.
That'd be awesome.
Like whether it be family trips or like you, myself, and Derek can go somehow. Like that would be
we gotta make it happen.
That would be really like I actually kind of want to pitch that to my family of, hey, next year let's try to go to Canada for a trip and watch the World Champs. That would be fun.
I think that'd be so cool.
My wife wants to do the Macy's Day Parade, so I can leverage this. That's her big ask.
Say yes to that so that you can go to Montreal.
Yes.
The Macy's Day Parade. Okay.
That's her dream in Thanksgiving is to go to that.
All right. That's fine. That's fine. All right. Okay. I love that. I just don't hear that very often. Macy's Day Parade. Okay. All right. Okay.
My dreams are bigger.
I love it. Okay. Okay, we want to hear from you guys. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment below. We would love to hear your take on this week's bike computer discussion. Are you team Wahoo, Garmin, Coros, or Hammerhead? And if you're a Garmin user, what will you do about Strava? Let us know in the comments below. Until next time.
See ya.